Hey folks, this is Samuel Huber from samuelhuber.net, Huber Family Adventures on Instagram, Samuel Huber on YouTube, Samuel Huber on Facebook. I'm here with yet another episode of Inclusion Tube. I'm here today with Sharon, who's going to teach us about sound therapy and sound healing and how that pertains to people on the spectrum. Before we get into all that, Sharon, can you tell the folks who don't know you a bit about yourself?
Hi, I'm an interfaith minister. So that means I can do ceremonies too, but my ministry ended up being helping people through sound healing and Angelic Reiki. So I like to do that and teach that. And I do have a little bit of experience with people on the spectrum with it. So thank you for inviting me to share.
All right, thank you for coming. So can you share some of those experiences that you've had with people on the spectrum?
Yeah, so for people with autism specifically, there can be an imbalance of areas of the brain. Like each area can have a different level of the waves. Like what we were going to talk about is like the delta waves, for example, or the dreamless, most deeply healing state of sleep. The gamma waves are 38 to 42 hertz, and it's the fastest, but your mind has to be quiet to access it. So it's like being in the zone, like an athlete. You're able to like dance and throw and duck and weave and be able to really be in a fast pace, but still and calm. And then there's beta, which is the normal alert, engaged state. And alpha is 8 to 12 hertz. And that's where your thoughts are calm and in appreciation, like when your mind and body are in sync and integrating. And it's very similar to the frequency of the Earth's core and like a tree. So I think that's the reason why Buddha has been depicted under a tree, so that we can get into that, that really grounded state. And when we're in nature, specifically, we can be very alert and yet very calm. So it's a really good thing to practice, because all your sensories open up. When you're outside, you hear a bird over here, you might see one over there, you see all the colors of green, you feel the wind across your face. All your sensory opens up, smell, hearing, everything. So that's a good consciousness to be in, but I'll share in a minute how that can vary in people on the spectrum. And then theta is the last I want to mention. It's 3 to 8 hertz, and it's where you receive visualization when you're in meditation or if you're even in dream state. When you see like that, you're in theta. So how does this affect autism? So I went by this information from the Faculty of Cognitive Science and Human Development, and they say delta can be dominant in the frontal lobe and deficient in beta in many of the regions when you're on the spectrum, and low alpha at the sensory motor regions, and excess alpha in the left hemisphere, which is the analytical side, with excess theta in the right frontal region. And all of this imbalance can create problems with attention, anxiety, and social behaviors. So why am I telling you this? Because sound healing, Angelic Reiki, and I also have behind me, it's called the Trinfinity 8. And I found it to be a very outstanding combination when I use all of these three things to help balance the brain. It works right away. I had someone who was on the spectrum and very sick. He was actually very ill. I didn't think he'd be able to drive himself home. So I put him on the Trinfinity 8 just by itself. And then I went home and took my daughter home, and then I came back and he was fine. It was like a half an hour later, he was fine. And he was really sick when I put him on it. So it really helped clear whatever that was and balance him again. But for people that I would work on just all of it together with the Reiki and the sound, I've found that they get very balanced in their brain. And sometimes that can create an increase of creativity where they'll be drawing and writing and really inspired. And then other times they're just calm and feel normal. And it's like, oh, they're like back to normal. right? So it can vary because I think your brain can vary in what level it's in all different areas of your brain. So it's really not necessarily specific. This is a specific thing that they're saying is common, but I think it can vary from each person. And of course, people don't have to be on the spectrum to have this going on in some way. It could be on a milder scale. And that's why you could have a constant anxiety happening. And this is really helpful for that, the sound healing specifically.
All right, thank you, Sharon. That was really great. A lot of information that I didn't know about brainwaves because I've never studied neurology. So can you go into a bit more detail about each waves and how balancing them out can help someone? So how can balancing your gamma waves help you out?
Well, I think there's no way to specifically know what levels you're dealing with. So in order to just combat all of that at once, it's best to be in like a sound healing meditation and just allow it all to take place when you're in that state of awareness. It can just balance itself with the sound waves.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. But one of the huge things that people on the spectrum struggle with is being even aware of the imbalance, of how their body is reacting, how their mind is reacting to things. How do you start to even become aware of that there is an imbalance?
Well, I think it's common that we all have imbalances depending on what's happening. So I would explain it better by talking about how the chakras keep us balanced emotionally and engaged in all those different areas of our emotional states. So sometimes if you just take a minute to breathe or tone, I wanted to go over that a little bit, how you could just tone like Om can really soothe yourself in any way that it, whether it's hyper or even just really tired, you just feel like you need to clear the mud off, you know? So I think that those type of things are really helpful, and you don't need a lot of time. You could just take a couple deep breaths anytime, and you can tone really, I mean, wherever you have the time. You don't have to tone very loudly, but you can if it helps, you know, like if you really feel like you need to clear something out, you might want to be loud. But yeah, you don't have to.
Yeah. And for folks who don't know what toning is, it's kind of, for my Aspies out there, it's kind of like when we vocal stim. It's kind of like a way to calm yourself down. But the way Sharon's talking about, it's a more constructive way of doing it, of really feeling, you know, one with your body and mind and connecting them. Sharon, if you wouldn't mind leading us through an exercise to help bring that connection between the mind and body.
Yeah. So for just basic, how it correlates to the body, if you focus on the shoulders, the shoulder area always seems to have something to let go. The burden's ready to go. And of course I can use Reiki, tuning forks, or just toning. So we could just breathe and do some toning and focus. Like, so focus on this area and take a deep breath in, and we'll just tone Om, O-M, okay? And you can do it several times if you want. And then there's the higher heart area. This is the thymus area. So whenever we're feeling like we're getting sick or we feel really congested in some way for allergies or whatever, that's a good.
There, you're back.
Sorry, there was a phone call coming in. That's a good area to integrate with the sound ah. So let's just focus here and take a deep breath in. Just take a deep breath first and let it out. And then we'll just do ah, A-H, okay? Okay. And then the stomach areas where we digest, we integrate things, we accept things and learn. When we're struggling and tense, that can really be a problem. And it's really where we tend to get ungrounded the most, because we just want to be who we are and comfortable with that. And sometimes we're just not comfortable with that. So to hold this area in a state of calm and just be with yourself, calm your fears, allow yourself to trust yourself and your angels, and know that the universe isn't out to get you. It's just a mindfulness piece. So take a deep breath and we'll just Om. And now, breath in. And that can be really helpful for that. The root chakra would be like from the stomach area all the way down to your feet. This energy, we're ready to receive the earth energy and being grounded, able to concentrate on a little bit of like you're melting into yourself. Just relax and feel yourself melting. And then we can just do ah with this. Breath in. One more time. I find by the end of those, that's a really helpful thing to
Sharon,
feel more.
how many times would you have to do each one of those sounds in order for it to work?
I think it depends on how you feel. Like if you feel better, just move on to the next thing and then just do them all once. But there's some where you may feel particularly tense still, then just do it again. And I think 3 times is enough, no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Thank you. And I think the biggest time for sound healing, for especially for people on the spectrum, is when we're feeling, I guess the best word for it is manic, when our energy is all the way up in our crown chakras.
Yeah.
Which is, I think the most common chakra that people in the spectrum overuse and we wear out, and we're not really connected with our throat or any of the chakras below the crown. What are some exercises to bring us out of our crown chakras and bring us all the way down to the root chakra?
Okay, so do you want to tone the chakras? Is that okay?
That's perfect.
Okay, so this is definitely going to balance you no matter what's going on. That's what I was saying, where it's not necessary to know like what wave state we're in, because different areas of the brain could be in different wave states at the same time, apparently. I didn't even know that was possible until I read that. I just assumed we're either in gamma or delta or theta. Like I didn't know it could vary. So
do you know why they vary?
I don't know why. I'm not a neuroscientist, but it does really it is a big interest of mine, because I do feel the results of the calming that happens, and of course I'm inspired by that.
All right.
So to tone the chakras, let it just be a meditation, meaning just to receive what comes. Sometimes we can visualize, like the crown chakra is violet. We can try to visualize it, but how about we just wait and see if something comes? Like it could be white, it could be gold, it could be violet. So let's just allow that to be. The calmer that we can be and just like allowing it to happen, the more likely we can go into theta and actually experience the colors. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So the crown chakra tone is E, like the word me. So just take a deep breath in. E. And then you may feel an opening.
Mm-hmm.
And then the third eye is A, like say. And the throat, the tone is I, like my. And you can feel yourself getting calmer as you go down them. So the heart is awe, like saw. And the solar plexus, the stomach area, is O, like go. Starting to feel more settled. And the sacral is a little below the stomach area. It's right below the belly button. And the sound is oo, like you. Maybe you can feel that vibrating now. And the last chakra is the root chakra, and it's like cup. Feel a little more balanced and calm. I know I felt it all the way through my body.
Yeah, I drank too much coffee this morning, and so I was all up in my head with. Now I'm already down in my root. Thanks to that, I'm definitely going to be using that more regularly. And for the folks out there on the spectrum who have a limited vocabulary, those sounds are very simple sounds that your children are probably already working on with their sound. With their language therapist or speech therapist, whatever you want to call it. So I can see how that can help anyone on the spectrum who can just make at least those simple sounds.
Yeah.
Which is huge, and it's definitely a natural way to regulate the body and the mind and the soul. But then I know I've received sound healing, and I've gotten Reiki healing from you. For those who don't know what Reiki is, Sharon, can you tell folks what Reiki is? Angelic Reiki.
Well, Angelic Reiki is the angel's energy and your source's energy coming through me to you. And so they're the experts. They know what they're doing as far as the brain balancing and anything else in the body that would need tending. So I'm just there to really get myself to be present and relaxed and to be able to receive and give you that energy. And work with the sound healing too. So I'm not just going into a deep state, I'm also in an active state. So I would imagine that comes into more like gamma, the higher level where I'm able to get messages, or it could be theta where I'm more calm. It just depends on what's going on. I need to be able to say, okay, I need to grab this bowl now, and sorry, it's kicking back on the sound a little bit.
Yeah, it's all right.
But these sounds are really beautiful. This is an alchemy bowl that has citrine in it, and of course quartz, and it also has platinum. So there's a precious metal in it too. So these are really helpful to support in all those different ways. But I feel like the level of sound that comes from these is much higher than the regular crystal bowls. So I decided to invest in a couple of them. Mm-hmm. And there's also tuning forks. Now the tuning forks, so the weighted tuning forks, I can put them next to each ear at 2 different frequencies, and that can balance the brain and center them. And then there's crystals on the ends of these now with precious metals wrapped around the crystal. So there's a lot that I can do now that's new that seems to be really having an even better effect.
Yeah, that's a lot of great info, Sharon. And for my aspies out there, that if that went over your head, think of Reiki as like downloading new files onto your phone, but it's through energy, like electricity. And then and it's the same thing with sound spray and using those forks. It's a way of balancing yourself out. Kind of like, again, it's kind of like stimming, but with tools. For my folks who know what that is, and it's about and the reason that people on the spectrum stim is to regulate their body, and this is a way to focus that stim and get back to heart-centered or root-centered. As we talked about earlier, balancing out your chakras. But then there are definitely other practices that, Sharon, I know that you do that often help. These are often, umbrellaed under meditations. Could you lead us through maybe a bit more complex meditation on the help that would help someone on the spectrum?
Sure. Just could I share first the Solfeggio Frequencies or something that
Sure, go ahead.
could be helpful, because you'll find a lot of them on YouTube. Like, you can, if you know that you're helped by 174 hertz, you can just play that at a low level in the background, or have headphones on at a real low level, something like that. So there's stuff that you can do like that that can help you at any time. So I just wanted to touch on that. The Solfeggio Frequencies are real common on the YouTube channel to help with different situations. Like 174 hertz helps with pain and stress relief. 285 hertz is for rapid tissue regeneration and quick healing. 396 is for letting go of guilt and fear and balancing the root chakra. And 417 wipes out negative energy. 528 brings positive transformation and builds core strength. It's said to create DNA repair as well. 639 is the frequency of love and all things related to the heart. 741 helps detoxify the body and promote self-expression. 852 is for the third eye chakra and balancing and for awakening intuition. And 963 is a pineal gland activator and aura cleansing. I just wanted to touch on that because that's something that's real easy to do. It's like playing music in the background. You can help yourself with that. But the sound healing meditation, I'm very happy to do.
All right. Before you do that, I'm going to kind of translate that for my Aspies.
Okay.
After that. What she is saying, guys, is that basically, as you know, people on the spectrum are obsessed with patterns. Our brains need to complete patterns in order to process and move forward with a task. But when our souls, our chakras are not balanced, we tend to, the pattern is not being completed. Therefore, we kind of get stuck, and that's when we get manic and a bit crazy. What she is saying through these different sound levels that you'd be listening to, it's a way of helping your brain complete that pattern so you can move forward and you can feel calm within yourself, rather than leading to more harmful behavior. So if you feel yourself getting to that, trying these different sound levels can help where it be getting rid of negative energy, and getting connected with your root and the other things that she just listed. So what she's going to lead us through is different ways to regulate us when we feel out of sync with ourselves.
Allow the sound to bring you back to this now moment. Deepening your breath. Wiggling your toes. Opening your eyes and looking around. Welcome back.
Thank you. That was wonderful. And if anyone's having trouble hearing our wonderful instruments, I suggest putting on earphones. That'll definitely help you tune into that wonderful sound. So is there anything else you want to share with us today, Sharon, about sound healing and how it can help anyone, not just people on the spectrum?
Yeah, I think there's nothing more effective than the sound that pleases you. So even music, if some music that you like is a favorite of yours, it's very uplifting and moving, it gets you dancing. I suggest anytime that you really feel down that you try something like that, because that almost always works. And the breathing, of course, is really key. If you find you're not breathing deeply, that's always the next thing to focus on. Am I breathing? If you're not feeling right, that's the first question you want to ask yourself. And try just oming. Just take a deep breath and om like that, and try it a few times and see if that makes you feel better, because it's your own voice that can really be magic for soothing you, because you learn to trust yourself, and your own sound can heal you and soothe you like nothing else really can.
Thank you. I understand that you have a YouTube channel where similar meditations that like the ones we just heard.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, you can find me on YouTube. It's just Sharon Kachel. It's Kachel. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
If anyone wants to know, Sharon has her own shop and her own website. Sharon, what's your website called?
Attuned with Spirit, and that will take you to my studio. And there's several ratings and videos on there too.
All right, folks, I will definitely place the link to her website in the description below. Sharon, thank you so much for coming on Inclusion Tube. Before I let you go, I always like to end these interviews with the following question. What does inclusion mean to you?
Inclusion? That's interesting that you asked me that, because that's really why I became an interfaith minister. It includes everyone. It doesn't matter whether you believe in a religion, no religion, a God, no God, a goddess. It doesn't matter. Everybody can be acceptable, whoever you are, wherever you are.
All right. That's simply beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing your message and introducing probably so many people to the magic of sound healing and Angelic Reiki. I hope you guys check out her channel. Please subscribe to her channel, and it can really change. It definitely changed the whole tone of my day. Got me in a very good headspace. Sharon, thank you so much for coming on my show.
Thanks so much for inviting me.
We hope to have you actually come to Inclusion Fest at some point and perform your sound healing for all of us, because we would love to have you for a workshop.
That'd be great. Yeah.
All right, folks, this has been another episode of Inclusion Tube. This is Sam Huber signing off. Bye, everybody.
Bye.